Howdy, everyone. Welcome to Tilson Live. It is Tuesday. It's 2 o'clock, and we are coming at you live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Vimeo, here to talk about all things built on your land. I am one of your hosts, Eric Allard, part of the fourth generation of the Tilson family, joined as I am each and every week by Dawn Dantzler, Vice President of Marketing and Customer Experience for Tilson Homes. Welcome, Dawn.
Hey, Eric. How's it going?
It's going wonderful. We have unseasonably cool weather right now for this late in the spring. We're actually getting the spring. It's pretty awesome. So we're probably getting a little bit of that. We've put off the 90-degree heat for yet another week potentially. So we're pretty excited. But yeah, everything is going really, really well. We are stoked to be here today. Again, folks, we are live on Facebook, live on YouTube, live on Vimeo. Want to hear all of your questions. Dawn's going to tell us what we're talking about this time.
Maybe.
But as we start out, guys, jump in, tell us where you're watching from, tell us where you're building, tell us what part of the process that you are in. The whole reason we are here is to listen to your questions, answer as many as we possibly can, make sure that you and your family are fully equipped to embark on this endeavor that is building a home on your land. As you probably all know, or maybe you don't, Tilson Homes is a fourth generation family owned and operated on your land custom builder. It's all we've ever done. We've been doing it for 91 years, and we'd love to be able to do it for you. And if nothing else, we would love to make sure that you have the questions answered that you need to proceed safely and confidently to the next step. That's why we're here.
100%. Well said.
So what are we doing today?
So today, there are a lot of questions that we hear over and over again about building on your land and specifically building on your land with Tilson. So we have kind of gathered up those most frequently asked questions and are going to try to answer them. We actually tried to do it last week, but you guys had your own personal questions. And so as Eric was saying, we are here for y'all. So we're going to always answer those first. But I did, we figured we'd go ahead and try again this week, see if you guys do not have any more questions that you want to do and take over the show. We will go ahead and go through what those frequently are, because we know you guys learn from each other's questions as well.
That's right. Yeah. Again, the whole point is to make sure that you're comfortable with this. We know that there's a lot of unknowns. And of course, the number one fear of humans is the fear of the unknown.
Absolutely.
So we're here to make it crystal clear to you that there is nothing to be afraid of in this process. If you ask all the questions you want to ask and get the answers to those questions, you can proceed safely to the next step. If part of the reason we do this is if you are asking questions and you're not getting the answers that you feel like you need to hear, stop, pause, maybe change direction, ask more questions, and don't proceed till you're comfortable, really. But
absolutely,
the reality is there's not anything out here that we're not really equipped to deal with. There are, we've been building homes, like I said, for 91 years in 114 counties across the state of Texas. I never say we've encountered it all, because the next day the phone rings and it's something we've never encountered before. So we're not putting that in the universe.
Sometimes it's like 5 seconds later.
Yeah. So, but the reality is you don't need to be afraid if you go in with somebody that you trust. And so part of we do this to increase the familiarity with you guys, to remove the friction and the unknowns, just so that hey, we've been as transparent as we possibly can. Sometimes that's good news. Sometimes it may be news that some people don't want to hear, but we're always going to be truthful and upfront and transparent with you, and make sure that you know what we know.
Right.
And
absolutely.
For good, for better, for worse. But yeah, jump in. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us where you're building, what part of the process that you're in. We love hearing from you guys. And again, the whole point of this venue is to get your questions answered. If there's confusion, and I got to see, I running around the state last week with Mr. Ordino.
You were, yeah.
See some of our folks. Yep. got to see a lot of folks actually. Some in construction, some in the design centers. So that was a lot of fun. Thank you for those of you that came up to me and pointed out that I was actually looked thicker in person. I'm just kidding. That didn't happen. That has happened before. Oddly enough. No,
we get all kinds of comments about how different we look in person. So
that's because we're AI. None of this is real. None of this is real. Eric is just a chat GPT bot, and none of this.
I got told I'm funnier in person.
I can't see that.
I was like, okay, all right. I'm not sure if it was funnier looking. I'm not really.
I've been told I'm not funny at all, but that's typically by my wife. In person, online, or otherwise. That's not funny. This is the typical quote at the hour.
That's fair. Yeah, you do tell dad jokes, so it's fair.
Oh, I do tell dad. So my favorite. So who's joining us so far, Don? And then we'll get into the presentation.
Absolutely. We've got Norma watching from Plano. Hey, Norma.
What's up, Norma? Howdy.
We've got Michelle. Hey, guys, watching from Canyon Lake. Thanks for hosting these live streams each week. All the information is much appreciated. Oh, thank you.
Beautiful. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah.
We've got Lisa McSumner. Howdy from Cowtown, celebrating our TBD No More.
Yes.
You'd be in Bridlegate in Bandera, Texas later this year. Yay, exciting.
Very cool, Lisa.
We got Lacey saying she likes my hair. Thank you, Lacey. It's very sweet. She'll comment on yours in a minute, I'm sure.
No.
We got Sonia coming in from Crosby, Texas.
Cool. Welcome, Sonia.
And then we have John and Gretchen watching from Grapevine, building on Lake Richland Chambers.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, nice.
Great spot.
Yeah, Richland Chambers is a up and coming retreat for the actually all markets, but particularly DFW. Less than an hour away, and a lot of really good lakefront property still available. So really cool spot. And I think
we're seeing a lot of people moving in from different parts of the state too.
I think that's our number one area in North Texas, or the quote DFW area is interestingly Navarro County.
Lacey says she loves your hair too.
Both of them. Thanks, Lacey.
Your beard.
Okay. Thank you for indulging.
Julie says, happy Tuesday for my new house. We're planning the next projects today. Awesome.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
And then we've got Chad coming in from South Mountain.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
We got Robert watching from Whittier, California. When will the Tampico model be done in Waco?
Great question, Robert. So you could actually make an appointment to go tour it now. I think I heard just yesterday from Richard Webb, who's building those, that we had to postpone furniture. Furniture's ready to go. We postponed it for a little bit more tile work, some tile touch up and actual tile work to be done. But it's very, very close to being done and furnished. So for sure, end of May. But I think, you can certainly make an appointment right now and tour it. We just want to make sure that we're not doing, have a tile saw set up and cutting on the front porch when you walk in and breathing silicon dust and all that kind of good stuff. So apart from that, man, let's make an appointment and get here and go. You have a little lead time because you'll be coming from California. But yeah, it's ready to go pretty well.
Yeah, they're really close. We're excited. Last I heard, we were looking at landscaping end of May, but it sounds like it might be beginning of June if we're delayed. But yeah, cool.
Yep. Okay, so folks, questions, be posting them into the chat. Any questions about site preparation, septic systems, water wells, culverts, access, design questions, customization questions, financing questions, how does Easy Buy work? We're here to talk about all that stuff.
What are any of those words that Eric said at the beginning that the rest of us are like, what do they mean? What's a culvert?
All those things. Those things. Permitting, Texas Department of Transportation, municipalities, architecture control committees, property owners associations.
All the fun stuff.
All the fun stuff. We're here to answer each and every one of those questions and be sure that you have all the information you need to make decisions for you and your family. That's why we're here.
All right.
But we do have a presentation. Am I sharing it? I am sharing it. Look at this.
You are. There you go.
Oh, you think we didn't start this yesterday? Okay, so here we go. Dawn, how much can I change your plans?
So I always give credit for the statement to Holly and San Marcos because it pretty much sums it up. The limits on our floor plan changes are the laws of physics, building codes, and your budget. So if it fits into all three, odds are we can do that. Starting with one of our plans, so you can change as many things or as little as you want. You can move walls, add rooms, add a garage, do all the things you want. Change the exterior materials. Make one house look like another. All of those types of things. We do have a couple of recommendations for you to make the experience a little bit better and more efficient. We have a lot of pre-designed custom options. We always suggest if one of those works for you, go with one of those because they've already been tested out to make sure that when you open up the oven, you have enough room between you and the island. When you are opening the refrigerator, you can still walk by. We've already figured out all of those things on those options, and it's been done by professionals, in our drafting team to make sure everything's going to work. Exterior changes are going to be the easiest thing to do. So we know while most people, curb appeal is a big thing, you're attracted to the outside of the home. We really suggest look at the floor plan first, find the floor plan that you like, and it would be a lot easier for us to make that outside look like the house that you like rather than vice versa, because the way rooms are laid out really does affect that exterior elevation. The other thing is if you're going back and forth between two homes and you're like, this one's a little bit too big, but I like these features, start with the smaller house and make it bigger rather than going the other way. It'll just be much more cost effective for you to make a small house bigger than it is to make a big house smaller. So those are kind of the guidelines there.
All very well said. Very well said. Yeah. So we put simply, we can get pretty custom on changes. So don't, the house you see online, yep, that's a good start. And most people customize from there and go. So very, very few people, in fact, I can't think of the last one that just bought a plan exactly as it was.
Yeah, we call them unicorns. It's very, very rare.
I asked the salesperson, did you show them the plan? You put them on contract? Are we sure?
Are we sure? Are we positive?
Yeah. So anyway, all right. Very, very cool.
Yep.
Now we'll skip this one. We're going to skip this one.
This one has started to come up a lot more. So I think it's being talked about more among host custom builders. So we keep getting asked, what is your price per square foot? Or often it's phrases, why doesn't Tilson price by square foot? And I know, Eric, this is a passion topic for you. So I'll let you.
I do. I get pretty passionate because it comes all the way down to that transparency thing that I take pretty seriously when it comes to dealing with people's money and the trust that they put in you when you agree to take it. So my short kind of quirky thing I ask, you can ask Catherine Knox in Texas Grand in Huntsville, and she makes fun of me still, and she'll laugh. But my rebuttal to this is, what is your price per square foot? I will say, how long is a piece of string? Right. So the price per square foot for what? For what? There's a lot of things you want to ask. If a builder is advertising or even just tells you, hey, we charge $160 a square foot, man, I got to know for what? Like, what plan are we talking about? What are the ceiling heights? What are the included features? Does that include septic? Does that include landscaping? Does that include, are you 500 feet off the road? Are you 5 feet off the road? Like, there's no.
What are you including in your square foot?
Yeah, how many feet are we talking about? Is it your total slab area that includes your garage and porches and everything, or is it just the living area? There's no way that someone could quote you a price per square foot and it's going to hit exactly what you are after. And so I'm going to get a couple of real simple examples, and then I'd like to go into a little more detail. Again, keep putting your questions in the chat. I enjoy this. I enjoy being challenged on this. If you want to do that, I'll famous last words. But this is a very misleading pricing method. And I don't know where in human history we were trained to ask this question, because we never ever ask how much a car costs per pound. We never ever ask how much a cheeseburger costs per ounce. We never ask, those are, how much does this medical procedure cost per arm? Like, nobody asks anything that way. But for whatever reason, we take an infinitely more complicated thing like a custom built home on someone's land in the middle of nowhere, and magically there's supposed to be this blanket price per square foot that suits it. It makes no sense. But let's go through the exercise just so that people can be very understanding of what I'm talking about and more educated when you walk into that other builder's office. I got two two buildings here. They're very small buildings, but they're buildings nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a 10-foot by 10-foot square room, and I got a 2-foot by 50-foot rectangular room. And so square footage rise, right? We know, and I went to Texas A&M, also known as Harvard on the Brazos. So I could say we keep math real simple around here. Okay. So here's the deal. How many square feet do I have in each of these buildings? Not a trick question. Oh, I got 100 square feet in each one, right? 10 by 10, 100, 2 by 50, 100. Okay. So I got 100 square feet. Well, naturally they should be the same price per square foot, right? Well, that can't be. How many lineal feet of perimeter do I have in the top example? In my 10 by 10, I have 40 lineal feet of exterior perimeter. Okay, 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. Whereas in the second example, I have 50 plus 50, that's 100, plus 2 plus 2, that's 4. So I have 104 lineal feet around this particular building.
Mm-hmm.
So if we know nothing else about these two plans, we know nothing else. I don't know what the ceiling heights are. I don't know if it's a stone. Is it hardy plank? Is it brick? Is it stucco? What are the floor coverings? What kind of cabinets? What kind of countertops? What's the roof pitch? What plumbing fixtures? What light fixtures? Is it on a sewer? Is it on a septic system? Is it on a pad because it's 4 feet below the floodplain? Like, I don't know any of that. But I know without knowing anything else, I'm going to have at least 2.5 times more material and man hours in this bottom one, just in framing.
Right.
And in concrete form boards. So I have a lot more waste, right? Because I got 40 versus 104. So 2.5 times more lineal feet of perimeter. And we hadn't even started talking about, like I said, ceiling heights, exterior veneers, cabinets, countertops, plumbing fixtures, light fixtures, the price of tea in China, none of that. Okay.
Right.
But somehow a builder out there can tell you $185 a square foot. Well, if they tell you that, if someone tells you we build for $185 a square foot, they are quoting you the price for this one down here, the most expensive one, even if they only build you this one up here. They have to, because you might pick the one down here that's more complicated. So
they're using the phrase starting from, and they're quoting you the cheaper
which
one,
means
trying to sell you the more
square
expensive
that you're
one.
not going to pick, and they know it.
Yeah.
So to help better illustrate the example, here's a house which we sourced. This is a David Wiggins design, not one of ours. I just went and got a design. This is a 2,091 square foot home. Okay. Beautiful home, right? Mm-hmm. We got tapered stone columns. We got cedar curved trusses. We got very steep roof pitches. We got lots of offsets, lots of corners. We got wing walls. We got multiple fireplaces. We got porches. We got all kinds of stuff, lots of angles. Okay. And then we have, from our good friends at Clayton Homes, 2,078 square feet, and it's a rectangle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, they're 13 square feet apart, but I think everyone on here, maybe we've belabored the point, but everyone on here can probably agree this house is going to cost more per square foot than this house. Right. Why? You're going to have waste. You're going to have a lot more complex. There's going to be taller ceilings. The exterior veneer alone is going to be sitting on a different type of foundation system. So the odds of someone guessing when someone quotes you price per square foot and you don't have any idea, well, does that include the granite that I want and the flooring that I want and the type of septic system I need because I'm, on lakefront. So I have to have a drip system instead of aerobic spray head system. Like there is no way that you can guess that. So do not get caught up in the trap of price per square foot. And again, like Dawn mentioned, one of the most obvious ones that is very misleading is they'll quote you the price, but then they'll divide it by the square foot of the total slab area.
Right.
Which is obviously going to yield you a much lower price per square foot. So if I tell you the house is 2,091 square feet of living area, this house may be 3,100 square feet of total slab area. So if I take, let's say it's $600,000, I divide it by 3,000 square feet instead of 2,000 square feet, that's going to be a very different price per square foot.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe just enough to mislead you. So don't be misled like that. Ask for an upfront contract price with what items are included, what levels of floors, countertops, cabinets, plumbing fixtures, light fixtures, what all is included in that price, what is not included in that price. And I would discourage you from getting caught on price per square foot. And if that's what a builder is going to quote you, it's almost the odds of them being for exactly what you want are nearly zero. So ask a lot of questions.
Absolutely.
I know we got some questions stacking up.
We do.
Let's go check them out. Maybe this one yielded some. I have no idea.
All right. We've got Brad asking, good afternoon. What is the gable dormer pitch on the front of the Fayetteville, that part above the porch? Is it a 10-12?
It is 12-12, Brad. I checked it. It's a 45-degree angle. It's a 12 on 12.
Okay. Perfect. Sonia's asking, financially, should I get someone to do my septic system before I start building or just let Tilson do it all?
Don, what do you think? Do we want to do a septic system beforehand?
So financially, you can do however you want. Like you can do it or we can do it. The timing question is different. So timing, ideally, we want to wait until you're going to design your septic, you're going to get it permitted and all of that before we start. But we don't want you installing it until we have already started. We want to make sure that we have masonry on the exterior of the home before you install the septic system, if at all possible, just because we like to make sure that we've already brought on all the heaviest equipment. So we're less likely to damage your septic system. If because of the positioning of the house, we need to put it in first, like if the septic's behind the house, something like that, we can absolutely work around it. But risk wise, we're more comfortable if you install it after we've already completed the masonry. And then financially, we can take care of it either way. Either, you can do it and pay for it while we're doing construction, before we're doing construction, or we can take care of it. So that's up to you. We've got Glenn saying, howdy from Lake Palestine area. Just built a nice outdoor fire pit from leftover stone from our Livingston build.
Oh, awesome. Very cool. Give us some pictures of it. We'll see some pics.
Absolutely. We've got Joe. We own property on Texas Grand Ranch. Do I need to have it surveyed before or wait till I get ready to build?
All right, Joe. And yeah, I saw another note where I met you this past Saturday in Republic Grand Ranch. So very cool.
Yeah,
thanks for jumping on. Yeah, let's go ahead and get the survey. Go ahead and get the survey done. That'll help with planning. That'll help with layout of the house, driveways, sidewalks, any kind of landscaping, septic even, because we're going to have one anyway to get going. So let's go ahead and get it done. Our office there, Catherine or Amy or any of those folks there in Texas Grand Ranch can help you with the survey. Hey, go call this person and get it done. I do believe, and verify this with them, but I think in our pricing, we do include that. So just make sure that, and then if we do include it, we can credit it back, but I'm not 100% sure on that. There was a time where
it's a form survey.
It is. It's a form survey. That's right.
It's the extra one that's required.
It's required. Yeah. So we do a form survey, which a form survey is simply making sure that our form boards are where they said they're going to be. We're not encroaching on any building lines, setback lines, utility easements, all that kind of stuff, which is why the survey is very, very important. Get with our office there before you get the surveyor, and they will jot down all the things you need to ask for from the surveyor. But they're very easy to get, pretty quick turnaround up in that area. But we do want the boundary survey with corner pins located and all easements shown. That's the most important thing. Yeah. So boundary survey with corner pins located and all easements shown.
Perfect. Julie is saying, when I open the refrigerator, the door bumps the wall. Do you have any after the fact ideas for protecting the wall for those who are way too excited to get into the fridge? So that'd be Jet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You probably have rounded corners. There's really not. I mean, you might be able to put some type of a rubber bump stop on the wall itself. I wouldn't put it on the fridge because the first time you go to grab it, it's going to come off. But maybe some piece of rubber. Clear rubber that the 3M I think makes one or two different kind of products. You can pick them up at your local hardware store and put those on the wall where it's hitting and see if that doesn't alleviate it a little bit. But yeah, and then in other news, it's the little one has to put everything back arranged in the door every time they knock it loose. So that's be another thing to do.
Yeah.
Or we can teach Jet how to do a little sheetrock work. That's how I do it.
Well, education. We'll add to that homeschool curriculum. Well, you've got Christopher saying, I know y'all offer fireplaces and it's probably too late for me to ask considering where we are in the process, but have y'all ever installed or offered wood stoves?
Christopher, we have installed them before. It's excuse me, pretty rare anymore that we're able to make them work with the current energy codes. And so, yeah, it's a little late in the game now to be trying to add one. Those are something that can be, depending on where you want it on the home, can be added after the fact. But again, trying to keep a fire going and a wood burning fire going in these houses, the way they're built, very, very tight, is a struggle in a lot of cases. And so particularly a wood burning stove where you've got, it's enclosed, and you need to get air to it, and we're not going to get a whole bunch of fresh air rolling in there by design. I mean, we've worked very hard on your home to make sure that you're not losing that air that you're paying to heat and cool and all that kind of good stuff. So we've done it before. There's a couple companies around that do install them. You might search for those. The main thing is that you want to be able to get that stack out of an exterior wall and up high enough where it will draft. So it needs to be far enough away from the roof, and there's some code requirements for that they are familiar with and they'll know. And the manufacturer will also have in their paperwork, on the specifications online, even will have how it needs to be done for it to work properly and safely.
Okay.
Not necessarily in that order.
All right. We got Beatrice saying, we are currently building an Alvin at the end of plumbing and electrical installations. We are curious why they already came out to grade around the house. Yeah.
So, and I don't know if which plumbing electrical installations we're talking about. Is it during the frame stage, or are we talking about the trims? Like, are they bringing out your plumbing fixtures and light fixtures on your countertops and above your islands, that kind of stuff? So there could be dirt work done at either one of those points. One is called a rough grade that we do earlier in the process, basically just to get the dirt knocked down, so stonemasons and painters and things like that have a little more room to work. Not stepping over gigantic mounds of dirt that have been dug out of the beams while we're doing foundation preparations. The other one, and maybe the one you're talking about that's later in the game, is called the final, framing. That's a rough grade. All right. Okay. So we do a rough grade for that very reason. And so it's when they're digging the beams and all that kind of good stuff, they dump that dirt out of the forms. Well, that creates kind of a little mound hill all the way around the foundation. And particularly in an area like Alvin that you don't have a lot of drainage, we don't have a lot of elevation to work with just because of where you are. You're close to the coast. We really like to get out there and do a rough grade so that when it is raining, like it's going to this week, it doesn't create as much of a mud pit hole against the side of the house where our, because we got bricklayers or stonemasons or even at least painters that are going to need to be working close to that. And ideally they want to, it's going to still be a muddy job site because we're in Texas and that's what it does. But to be able to get the water to drain as much as possible away to start with, just to keep it, but that's called a rough grade. And that is not your final grade. There'll be one that we do later, further down the line of the process, closer to completion, where we establish positive drainage all the way around, do any swales we need to. The rough grade sometimes will help tell us where we may need to make some adjustments. We'll need to make some adjustments in the final grade later. Like, hey, we did the rough grade and the water's still kind of standing over here, not real comfortable with that. Let's take care of that on the final grade.
Okay. So, that makes sense. We've got Nikki asking, what is the purpose of kick-out flashing? Due to the issues on our Tilson build, I asked for it to be corrected. Now the subcontractors totally removed it, wondering if it should be added back.
Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to have kick-out flashing. So if it's been removed, take a picture and get it to our warranty team for sure. But the kick-out flashing, really what it does is it does exactly that. I wish I had a picture to show, but it is a piece in the corner where two planes are coming down together. So a roof and maybe siding, let's say. So here's siding and here's a roof coming down. About where this pinky is, there'd be a little piece of metal that's kind of kicked up at an angle. And what it's doing is as water comes down this plane, Plane, it makes it where it doesn't run down the side of this siding. It kind of kicks the water out and makes it kind of almost like a little chute at the end of a slide.
A water slide?
Exactly. And it's to make it where the water is kicking away from the siding. Now, granted, we've got, Tyvek back behind there. We've got, some things that we have to do to make sure that water doesn't get back there, but it's just one more added layer of protection. If you don't have it, doesn't mean that necessarily water will get back there. But if it were raining in the perfect direction, or I guess it'd be the worst possible direction on the wrong time of day with the right kind of wind, it could potentially, but that's really the purpose of the kick-out flashing. So I do like the fact that obviously we came back out there and helped fix it. So proof that we're not going to disappear.
All right. We've got Adria. Hi, listening from Shirts and working with Kim and Bernie. We will be building in Williamson County. We are interested in the farmhouse look and very interested in the new Lone Star. Any idea when that might be released?
You're probably looking at a couple months, right, Don? I know y'all
Yeah,
are.
at least. Because when we release a new plan, we are figuring out the pricing because we like to be upfront and transparent in our pricing. So we figure out the pricing on all of the options and all of the elevations that we have for that in all of the counties where we build. So it takes our team a little while to like make it through. The last I heard, the drafting team was through drawing most of those and making sure that we had all the framing done properly. From that point, it goes on to our cost management team so they can actually figure out how many boards and how many nails and how many everything is in there so they can get that pricing done. So I would say we're probably looking at maybe late June, early July, optimistically, could be August. For that, we did, tip the Lone Star out a little bit early because we had that event at Republic Grand Ranch that Joe was referring to, and that is the model that we're going to be building there. But yeah, that's when we should see it. But if you're interested in it, you're talking to Kim, she can kind of give you the ballpark. Here's where we'll be and work with you on that.
Yeah, because we're also pricing out when we do that all the custom options, like Don
Mhm.
was talking about earlier. All the custom options have to be priced out because that'll be the next thing. Is what if I want to have the cathedral ceiling? What if I want to do this?
Right.
What if I want to do that? And
Or what if I don't? So then we gotta.
right, yeah, not having all that prepared, ready to go is just frustrating for people. So
Yeah.
that one came out of the chute a little early just because of the event we were doing
It
last
did. It
weekend. Quite
snuck
honestly.
out. We had a parade of homes where we didn't have a house, so we got creative and put our floor plan out there and did some stuff, and it was a pretty cool event. We've got Brad asking any downsides going with black shingles versus something lighter like driftwood. Does black shingles create more heat in the attic?
Not anymore, Brad. Not enough to make it substance. So I have black shingles on my personal home. So it's not that is not something you need to worry about. That's going to have, it doesn't last any longer. Doesn't create heat that can't be mitigated, particularly either with Tech Shield or with spray foam. I mean, you're going to be the heat is not going to be able to penetrate all the way into the attic. So nothing you need to worry about.
Makes sense. Nikki has another question. What is the maximum opening between the eave and the roof it overhangs? I'm afraid squirrels and birds are going to get into my home.
Yeah, there's not I don't have the code in front of me, so you'd have to find a code specialist to do that. And that is not the same as an inspector, by the way. Inspector does not equal code certified.
Absolutely.
Big difference. Inspectors can be done through TREC, the Texas Real Estate Commission. It does not mean they know the code.
Well, the inspector's job is to say, this looks weird, have someone else check it out.
Right. Yeah. A code certified person is a different deal. But the eave and the roof that is overhangs. I mean, there's not going to be a lot of gap for those kind of critters, squirrels especially. I mean, that would be a very large gap. I would think it would not be big enough for a squirrel or a bird to get into. But again, take a picture and get to the warranty team with something that you're concerned about. But yeah, there's not I guess I'm missing the question because I'm thinking eave, like we have eaves that are 12 inches or 8 inches. We have eaves that are 2 or 3 feet. So I'm not connecting. But Nikki, get a picture and get it to our warranty info at tilsonhomes.com and they can help you answer that. It's no problem.
Okay. Wonderful. Tractor Jeff is asking, do you primarily self-perform most of your work, or are you heavy on subcontractors?
Pretty much every builder in the state of Texas is what you're going to define as heavy on subcontractors. There are very, very few. In fact, I don't know of any, honestly, in the 20 years I've been doing this, that the builder themselves are the framing crew, they are the foundation crew, they are the electrician, they are the plumber, especially electrician, plumber, HVAC, because you have to be separately licensed for each of those.
Right.
So it is very, very rare we're like all builders in Texas. We rely heavily on independent contractors, and we orchestrate the scheduling, the vetting, the paying of those independent contractors, making sure that all the insurance is up to date, making sure that the licensing is up to date, all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, there's nobody around that they do their own work. If they're telling you that, you got a lot of questions to ask because there is no way that they're HVAC licensed, electrical licensed, plumbing licensed, licensed to be installing septic systems. Yeah, I mean, there's not, and they're an expert at framing, and they're an expert at overseeing the paint. Like, that's not a thing.
Yeah,
run the other way.
Alan is asking, what is your time frame looking like in Caldwell County?
I'll give it 12 to 14 months, Alan. That's total time. That's time that you do the initial agreement all the way to completion. So that one's come down considerably. We've got a good trade base there, as well as some really good oversight going there. So yeah, that's Lockhart area, that kind of stuff. So you bet.
Okay. All right. Gretchen's saying we would like to give a shout out to both Nick, our salesperson, and Eli, our construction supervisor. Nick passed the torch to Eli a couple weeks ago on our lake lot. We both had a great vibe from Eli, and he has been an excellent communicator. Both form boards are up, and deck plumbing guys, and on deck plumbing guys. So
nice.
we're rolling now. That's nice. Awesome.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, Eli's a great communicator. He's like even keeled, doesn't get worked up. Like it's very, very comforting to talk to him if there's something going on, and he's just cool as the other side of the pillow. So you're gonna love working with Eli. So
it's cool as the other side of the pillow. I love that.
It's like a highlight of the middle of the night sleep.
It is, yeah. I know exactly what you mean. I've just never. We've got Michelle saying, "Can you source and install side mount garage door openers?"
We certainly can. Absolutely.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah, LiftMaster makes them as well, so we use those not infrequently.
Let's see. Christian says, "Thanks for the hats, Dawn. We had a great time with our design meeting in Bernie, and the behind the sheetrock was outstanding too in San Marcos." Awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, Peyton sent me your picture, so I was happy to see that you guys got them and did well there. So
nice. All right. Yeah. Well, guys, keep asking your questions. Put them in the chat. Again, live on Facebook, live on YouTube. Keep putting the questions in there. We do have some other FAQs.
We do.
Go to. I didn't round out the pricing, but basically, here's how you should. We talked about how you shouldn't do pricing. Mm-hmm. A little exclamation point at the end of that of how you should. Ask for the price of the specific home. In other words, we price all of our home plans individually. Like the San Felipe cost different than the San Antonio, right? And the San Felipe, whatever elevation you're looking at, is different from the San Felipe A elevation. They don't all cost the same. They can't all cost the same price per square foot. So every single one of ours is, we calculate how many yards of concrete, how much, stone, how many 2x4s, 2x6s, 2x8, 2x10s, how much engineered lumber, how many sheets of OSB, sheets of sheetrock, number of door, and then we price that accordingly. And then the range of prices shown on the website that Dawn's build is the different elevations. So A, B, C, D, that kind of thing. That when you see a range from, 221 to 228, it's talking about from elevation A to elevation C or D. So that's how you should get it priced out. It should be specific to the home that you're building with the features that you have asked for. And
if you are insisting on calculating a price per square foot on this, keep in mind the square footage that we are showing is just living area. It does not include your garages, your porches, and all of that, which most builders who quote you a price per square foot are including that in their square foot to bring that cost down, because turns out square footage with no walls, no ceiling, no anything is cheaper.
Pretty cheap. Yep. And you're comparing apples to oranges. That's the other. You're not comparing. When you do price per square foot, even on our own plans, when you start trying to break it down like that, you are not comparing apples to apples because they don't have the same amount of stuff in them. So
right. Absolutely.
You're just going to get irritated. Nobody needs everybody irritated.
No.
All right. Dawn, what in the world is this Easy Buy program you talk about all the time?
All right. So the Easy Buy program is the way that we do our financing. It is a Tilson Homes exclusive program. We are the only builder that we know of that does this. So it is our no construction loan needed program. So we are not going to require you to get a separate construction loan to build on your land. We're going to do that using our own funds. We're not requiring you to do any borrow any money that we're going to use to build your home. We're taking care of that on our own, out of our own financial wherewithal. So what that means for you is you've got no construction loan or associated costs and fees. You've got no monthly payments on building your home during construction. For our qualified buyers, you've got no down payment. As long as you have 10% equity in the total value of your home, you're not going to have to make another down payment. We have a lower equity requirement. That 10% that I mentioned is half of what most construction lenders are going to want. They're going to want at least 20%. We're only requiring 10% equity. And you just have more overall money in your pocket. And also the peace of mind of knowing that we're financially sound enough to pay for getting your home built on our own and not requiring you to borrow that money on our behalf, which is really what you're doing with builders who are requiring a construction loan. And we have a much longer seminar on that if you want to get all the details and see lots of fun math to see how much the savings are. But that is the Easy Buy program short version.
That's it.
That's it.
Will the price of the home increase?
So it depends upon from when. If you have not signed an agreement with us, the pricing, when you come into one of our locations, they're going to meet with you and your design consultant is going to hand you what we refer to as an e-ticket. That's when they're going to price it out. That is good until you leave the parking lot. Basically, there's no guarantee on pricing that they quote you. You know, things can always change tomorrow. So our prices can and will change at any time in response to the market conditions that are happening if you're not under an agreement.
Mm-hmm.
If you have signed an agreement, your price is going to change if the scope of the project changed. So whatever price is on that contract, we're going to change it if the scope changes. So if we do our soil testing and we find out that there's going to be extra foundation costs because we're out of level, there's something going on underneath that we need to dig deeper beams, those types of things based on what the engineer says. Any type of plan changes that you make after signing that agreement obviously changed your house, so the price is going to change to make up for the difference in that. And then any upgrades that you might make during your color selection. So if you choose to go with a higher level cabinet or a higher level flooring, those types of things obviously are going to change your price. For all of these things, we'll be issuing what's called a change order, and you'll sign off on what that price change is. And then your price may also change based on the time it takes to prepare for construction. And so that's where our price protection pledge comes into work. When you sign an agreement, we're going to hold that price on that agreement for 180 days while we work on home designs and you're working on getting your property ready for construction. During this time, we need you to be completing your owner's responsibilities, which are anything related to the location or condition of the property that's needed to begin construction. So that's going to be things like, getting your construction drive in place, getting the lot cleared, getting that septic permit, getting the initial electrical connection, move in, all of that kind of stuff, permitting if it's required, those types of things. And then we're also going to need you to go ahead and approve those final plans. So stop messing around, get serious, say this is what we're going to do. Once those owner responsibilities are met, your price is locked and we are not going to touch the price. Once we have everything in, it's what we call release to estimating, and your price is locked and will not change.
Simple as that.
Simple. And then we also have some built-in, there's extensions in there if our prices go up, your price goes up, and it's predefined when you sign an agreement with us of what those are.
Awesome. Okay, we got some questions that are stacked up.
Yes, we do. So let me find.
You can keep asking them. We got some answers for you.
All right. And we've got Michelle asking, is it possible to have the bare floor plan with a canyon front elevation?
Okay, so I'm assuming you're talking about the Canyon C, just because it's the model home and the most popular one. So we're going to assume it's the Canyon C. And the answer is you can make it look similar to that. You'll need to add either just a dormer on top, that 12 on 12 or 10 on 12 dormer on the top, or you may have to add a little bit of porch, particularly if you're only doing the bare like A or B. The bare C might have enough, but the porch has to have an offset. That's kind of what gives that canyon and that LaPorte, that farmhouse look, is you have the porch that has an actual offset on it. If you look at the floor plan of the LaPorte C, the floor plan of the Canyon C, and you look at the floor plan of the bear is more straight across the front, which makes it more economical, which is why people are drawn to it. And this goes back to that price per square foot, right?
Right.
The bear costs a lot less per square foot than the Canyon or the LaPorte because it doesn't have the offsets. It's more
very rectangular.
It was designed that way. It was designed to be a value-driven home. So all that to say, yes, but I'm glad you asked this question, Michelle, because a lot of times that's where, I wanted this house because it costs less. Like it does. But there's reasons why it costs less. And so
usually the pretty stuff that you like is what makes it cost more.
Exactly. When you start putting all the prettier stuff on there, it makes sense that it's going to cost more money. So as long as you go with the understanding of that, and now that you do, then it won't be as much of a shock. But yeah, you're going to have to add some porch, which is going to cost some money, or you're going to have to add a dormer up at the top. This is universal sign for dormer.
All right. We have Christian asking, when someone chooses a new floor plan and is the first home built for that plan, are they likely to be a customer testimonial video series since they'd be the first look? So if they wanted to, I'm going to say I'm going to be straight up with you, Christian. Honestly, the criteria for being one of our customer testimonial videos and the floor plan series is that you want us to do it. We love sharing your all's homes. We love sharing your stories. It's very helpful to our customers, whether you're building the first one of our homes or you are building the 120th Nottingham that we have ever built. It's just, we like to share the stories, and like Eric and I were talking about, it's so rare that somebody actually builds it according to plan that it's cool to see another one, even if we've seen it before, because we want to see how you put your special spin on it, and we love to hear your stories. So Christian, if you want to have a video done about us, you've just told me, so we will be tracking you, and I'll reach out to you and make sure that we can make that happen for you.
Remember, you did this, Christian. You brought this on yourself.
You did it. Yes, Lisa, it's Christian's fault. He volunteered you. Byron is asking, hello, my wife and I are just starting to look at models. We wanted to know Casita option sizes and price range estimates.
There's a lot of options and sizes. And so
Yes.
I don't know exactly where you're building, Byron, but it's going to depend a lot on location, obviously. But the Casita is somewhere in the 160s to 200 range, typically, depending on what all you do to it. And I don't know that we even have any.
So that's one that I don't put on the website because of a transparency thing. I don't price that because the Casita generally doesn't include things that are included in other plans, because we don't know, is this just like your pool house, your cabana house that you don't want a kitchen in? It doesn't come standard with a kitchen. So you can add that, but that's a whole different price realm. So that's really, it's best with a Casita to get in with a consultant and talk about exactly what you're looking to do.
Yeah, because it can vary quite a bit, because you got a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, like Dawn said. Is there a kitchen? Is there no kitchen?
Is it a kitchenette versus a full kitchen?
You have a utility room, no utility room? Is it stacked? Does it, so we've deliberately made that one very flexible, but in doing so, it does make it very hard to just be like, oh,
it's this much.
We put it on the website, it could say price range from 150 to 300, and you're like, what? How could it be 100% different? But it really could be 100% different.
Yeah, it really could.
Running around with Justin last week, I think we stumbled on we knew we were going to them. Well, actually, one we did stumble on, we didn't know. But we had 3 different Casitas, and totally different. I mean, totally different on the front, totally different sizes. So yeah, it can vary quite a bit, but you can do a lot with it. But like Don said, make an appointment, go in, sit down, and start cutting one up and make it, what you want to do.
Yep. Because depending upon what you want to do, to be completely honest, it might be less expensive to start with a San Antonio and bring it down.
Yeah.
Or take out some walls or whatever. Okay, we've got Ruben saying Eli is our construction person too, building the Angelita B over in the shores at Richland Chambers Lake. Awesome.
Very cool. Yeah, Eli spends a lot of time driving around.
Yes, he does a lot in that area. We got Lisa saying we had a stakeout appointment last week and we were told that we need a construction drive, but curious how and when the soil sampling takes place.
After you get a construction drive in. So that's probably why they're telling you that you need it, Lisa, is because the truck that does the geotechnical investigation, it's big. Tandem axle, drilling rig on it. It's not like a Halliburton rig or anything like that, but it's a big rig. It is a commercial Class A vehicle that weighs a lot because it carries a very heavy payload. So it is not just a pickup truck that comes driving across there. So that's why they're telling you need a construction drive. We will have to have the construction drive in place, most likely before we can perform the geotechnical investigation.
Okay. All right. We've got Crystal asking, any idea when you'll be doing a tour of a Granberry? Hopefully soon. We have a customer who has finished building one, and we are just waiting for her to get all of her finishing touches done with her design and decorating so that you guys can have it shared with you. So we're working on scheduling that as soon as possible. In the meantime, we do have a virtual tour on the website of a rendered one that you can go through. And I think we actually have a Matterport tour of the one that we're going to do the video for. Ooh. So you can go and check those out while we're waiting. And Christian is saying, pushes Lisa to the front because he doesn't want to be in there. And she's not pleased.
Brave soul, just like me.
Suddenly became less of the walking billboard that you wanted to be. So like, hey, get in the video. All right. So do we want to answer the $1 million question?
Oh, you bet. Sorry, I was being nosy, looking at the Sumner Stakeout and see what it said. It does say yes, need a construction drive. So,
Okay.
how long will it take to build my home? Dawn, how long will it take to build? How long will it take to build my home?
So it's going to depend on exactly where you are. So overall, I'm talking about the entire state. We are finally seeing conditions improving with both supply chain and labor availability. So that is very excellent news. The majority of the delays that we are seeing now are actually back into the hands of us and the homeowner themselves. So it's back under everyone's control how quickly we can go, which is very exciting and a huge shift from where we've been. So we're very excited about that. In general, I'm going to say on average, and as you've learned from our cost per square foot discussion, I hate talking in averages. So get with people and get the specifics for your area. But we're going to tell you to expect about 12 to 14 months from when you sign the agreement to when you move in. So that's including all the upfront time to get those plans ready, get all the site work done, get all this permitting done, all of those kinds of stuff, and then we go into construction. So it's the full thing. Timeframes are varying across the state. You know, we do have a couple of pockets, but they're getting smaller of ones that do go longer than that. And then there are some where we're actually going faster. So it really does vary by market, and that's something one of your design consultants can kind of help you narrow down on based on where you're building.
You nailed it.
All right.
Let's see about that. All right, so folks, kind of last call for questions. Put your questions into the chat. We want to answer every one of them. Again, design questions, septics. I know that we got questions about site preparation, access, design, financing. That's what we're here to talk about. Easy buy, equity, all the things. So this will be last call for questions. We got a couple of things. Let's see. There is something going on in Waco this weekend. Is that right?
Yes, we're having a construction seminar in Waco. So Justin Orbineau, our SVP of construction, will be the one out there giving the construction seminar. So it's a great time if you want to see those models while we're putting the finishing touches on them and you learn about our construction process. Great time to go to visit them. We also have several other seminars going on at our other locations this weekend, and you can see those on our website and register for those. So yeah, lots of exciting things happening.
Lots of things. I think we got another question.
Yes, we have Beatrice asking us what are, I'm assuming, interest rates currently looking like.
Yeah, so luckily they don't mean a whole lot what's happening today with Tilson Homes, because again, you're not closing until the house is completely finished and you've done your walkthrough and move in. But for the sake of today's, let's talk conventional. We'll talk conventional. You're probably looking at about, I would say, bank on about 6.75 to 7% is what today's 30-year conventional fixed rate mortgage is. And again, also knowing that if rates tend to go down, you can refinance, which is what we've been doing for the last really 15 years is refinancing. So that's 6.75 to 7%. We may see some a little lower. What you might see, particularly if you're working with one of our preferred lenders, this is something to think about and a wise thing to do.
Yep.
We've actually asked, and because we've been around the sun a number of times. We've seen a lot of housing upswings and downturns and all the crazy things. And so we a lot of times will actually have the lenders, our preferred lenders, approve our customers for maybe a half of a point to, in some cases, a full point higher than what the current rate is. And again, that's really just to make sure that there's not some kind of a big if in the next 9 to 12 to 14 months something crazy happens. We have actually qualified. We will qualify you at the current rate, and then they may qualify you at a 0.5% or to a full 1% higher as a just in case. It doesn't mean you're locking in that rate.
Right.
They're simply doing it for your and their peace of mind that if something went haywire and the interest rates went up another %, you can still qualify for the loan and close. So again, a little bit of wisdom.
Makes sense. Polly is sharing that she is connecting from Grapetown
Oh,
and loving her front door.
you
Yeah.
have a beautiful piece of property, and Justin and I renamed the two donkeys there, Justin and Eric, because we felt like they looked so much like our spirit animals, or even like us, just as animals themselves. So
Okay. Makes sense.
it's fun times.
Lisa is saying Bandera County is saying its replat's going to take up to 12 weeks. So if construction drive is in, can the soil samples be done before the replat is final?
Yes, it can, as long as now. This is a great question. So yes, we can do those things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any reason why Bandera County is not going to approve the replat and all that kind of good stuff. Understanding that if we go ahead and proceed with those things and soil tests, things like that, and for some crazy reason Bandera County says no, or they want the replat done a different way, there's no going back on the soil test. The soil test is done. So that's, as long as you understand that risk. It's a very low risk, but you understand that risk, then I'd be perfectly fine with proceeding with, for sure, the construction drive and soil test. And I don't, just forgive me, I don't know enough. I think that the home is the reason for the replat, and my guess is that the home is sitting across two pieces of two lots. And so in that case, we'd want to be sure
to make them one. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing. But so the soil test may come from we obviously the soil test come from inside the footprint of the home. And I'd say we need to get directly with the because there's a lot of rock present on the site from what I'm reading on the stakeout. So I'm saying we're going to be doing a geotechnical investigation. It may not be an actual gigantic drilling rig. It may be well, either way, we're going to need the construction drive done, because even if they don't do that, they use like a mini excavator. There's still something that they need to have access. They have to have a heavy truck with a trailer to be able to haul that mini X across. To get to access the site. So need to get the construction drive in so we can get that, either the Mini X or Bobcat or geotechnical investigation, whatever they're going to be using to test the a little rock.
Oh.
Hey, Christian, pretend like I've been to Bandera County and built houses there. It is rock. So
It's rock.
And that's okay. It's beautiful. That's the whole point of it. So
because if it's rock, we just dig a rock pit and dig a little pit and go, that's rock. That's rock. We're not going to try to drill into this. Yeah,
because you never know. You really don't ever know. Is it 2 inches thick and we just bust through that and then there's topsoil, or is it 3 feet thick?
Right. Yeah.
And we'll be blasting or jackhammering is what you find in a lot of cases, is hydraulic jackhammer on a skid steer or on a mini excavator, or sometimes a not so mini excavator. Sometimes a full grown excavator.
All right. Makes sense. And then Brad is sharing the customer home tour videos are very helpful. Keep them coming. Well done, guys. Oh, thank you.
Cool.
And we can do yours next.
Yeah.
Sign up.
Easy.
All right.
Very
awesome.
cool. All right. Well, thank you guys. Oh, we got one.
So our septic was complete. We now have mounds of giant limestone. Awesome.
That's right.
You can decorate with it. You can landscape.
Oh, yes. Plenty of landscaping. All right. So, folks, thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching these videos. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for visiting our sites. Thank you for choosing us as a builder. Those customers of you, thank you so much. You're helping a family-owned, Texas-based, privately held business keep going and keep people employed and keep contractors working. And so you're doing your part, and we appreciate that, and don't take it lightly. We know you have options, and we know you get a vote. And so we really don't take that lightly. Obviously, it doesn't have to end here. Okay. We have 12 design centers open 7 days a week. We love seeing you guys. We have new home specialists waiting on standby. You can call them. They are remote workers, but they are in Texas, every single one of them. We don't have a call center someplace, in Minnesota or Bangladesh or some other place. Like, we employ folks here in the state and try to keep people working. So call them up. That's what they're here for. They'll answer all your high-level questions. We have a website that's open 24/7 that has a lot of content. We got a YouTube channel. We got a Facebook page. And we have an Instagram page. And
there's some shenanigans on the TikTok.
There are shenanigans on the TikTok, apparently. But anyway, no downloading that bad boy in Montana. They've outlawed that, but that's another subject for a different day. Who knows what's happening with the TikTok? But a lot of content otherwise we have out there for you guys. Again, ask us questions. That's what we're here for. And obviously we will be doing more of these.
Mhm.
Maybe not next week, but we will be doing
maybe not
more
next
of these.
week. We're all over the place in the state next
There's
week.
flying and traveling and things that are happening next week. So we may miss you next week, but not to say that we cannot wait to see you again next time. And until then, we really, really hope to soon make you part of the Tilson family. We will holler at you guys later on. Adios.
All right. Bye, everybody.